Hey, how's it going? It's your proverbial boy, Hector. Today, I want to talk about the idea of how to deal with trauma. And so, what brought about this topic? As of recently, I've been making a lot of content that has been getting a lot of feedback. A lot of people have been enjoying it. They've been leaving messages saying this is some stuff that they really enjoy, and I appreciate when people view my stuff and and actually take it for the value that I try to put out there. And one individual specifically reached out to me and said they really enjoyed the content I was making, and I was super humbled by that. I That was awesome. I appreciate it. And then they proceeded to talk about some traumatic experiences in their past, and specifically, it was the circumstance of being cheated on by their ex. And this ex was this person and their ex were in a relationship for about 3 years. 3 years is a fucking long time. And so, uh, what he described is the relationship that he is in now is wonderful. It's amazing, but he is unable to move past that past relationship. Um, the individual is finding it hard to truly appreciate and trust his new partner, and as he describes it, has an overall feeling of being messed up. He feels messed up, and so that kind of opened my eyes a bit. You know, that's a heavy topic that personally I've never dealt with, being cheated on, but in of itself, it is a traumatic event, and I personally have gone through my own traumatic event. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the I didn't really get any further information beyond that, and so I kind of try to put myself in that person's shoes by asking myself the ideas or the questions one would ask themselves if they were in that situation. So, in order for you, and we're gonna assign a name to this person. We'll name them Jackie. Okay, so Jackie, you have to understand what it is exactly that is making you feel this way, of not allowing your partner to trust you, or not being able to fully trust your new partner, even though it was a past partner that made you feel this way. So I have some questions for you. Do you resent your ex, yourself, or women or men in general? Do you feel personally like you could have done something to avoid this? You know, is this something that you have thought of in while you were going through this? Um, when the event occurred, how did it make you feel? Did you feel sad? Did you feel angry, apathetic, vengeful, depressed? What did you want to do after you found out? Were you vengeful? Did you want to commit any self harm on yourself? Did you shut down, fall into depression, or take it out on yourself or other people? And did you blame other people as well? And the last question that I think leads to a, a solution in the future is, what do you think is the root reason behind your feelings? So that's a little bit of a way of me trying to embody what this person is going through. Okay, so as I said before, I myself have never gone through that kind of situation of being in a relationship and having someone break my trust, you know, in that way, in an intimate relationship like that. What I can say is I've had traumatic experiences in my past, and we're gonna get into that right now. So when I was 10, I was like, I lived a normal life, right? I had my mom, my dad, and my sorry, when I was 10 years old, um, I lived a normal life. I lived right in front of the school, and happy kid, happy lifestyle. But when I was 10, um, an event occurred in my life. This event was the SWAT team, the local SWAT team, coming into my home and breaking down doors, you know, flashlights, rifles, everything, and they came to arrest my dad. And I was completely devastated by this. It was a pretty fucked up experience. It was in the middle of the night, super scary, super fucked up. And this event had such a traumatic experience, or such a devastating toll on myself, that in reality, nothing mattered. Nothing mattered anymore. You know, all the teachers knew and felt bad for me, but I didn't want their pity. You know, I felt shamed, I felt abandoned, and I felt completely alone. I went to therapy, but that didn't help. Didn't help at all. My dad was gone, and that's all that mattered. That he was gone, and that I wanted him back. I missed him. I cried for him. I hated him for what he did to me and my family, but I loved him. So after a few years, he was let out on probation for good behavior. Right? And you would assume that I would have been pretty happy about that. But I was happy to a point. But it's a big but. The damage was done. And I guess you could say I was fucked up. I was fucked up. I couldn't function how I used to. Um, I had terrible grades, performed poorly at school, uh, gained a lot of weight, got super fat, couldn't socialize, couldn't communicate or express myself to people in my life. You know, my mom would try to be there for me in some ways, but it wasn't that wasn't going to help. And so that's something that I still deal with today. It used to be a lot worse, but it's been a lot better. So me and you, Jackie, we both have something in common. We are dealing with some form of trauma, um, and that feeling that you're probably having, as I had, of just feeling completely devastated, not caring a single fuck about the world. This is what trauma is. It fucking ruins your lives. It hurts. It is the weight you feel on your shoulders, and it's heavy. But everyone goes through their own traumatic experience. Everyone. Whether it be little or big, it still has a similar effect. It's completely subjective. And so, trauma is something that you have internalized and it's sitting inside of you, like a tumor slowly killing you. You could feel it. You could feel it that's taking away your life, the life that you truly deserve. And somehow you can't seem to let go of it, but there is a reasoning behind it. You weren't finished experiencing the whole traumatic event. In some way, you shielded yourself to prevent a harsher blow to yourself. And yeah, that's the honest truth. Um, imagine being shot with a bullet, and instead of it going through all the way, it got lodged somewhere deep into your psyche. And that bullet is poisoning you, and everything in you is getting worse and worse, and your life is being taken away from you. It hurts, but the process of removing that trauma in of itself is so much more painful, so much more unbearable, that people go on living the rest of their lives not wanting to deal with it. They just let it sit. And it usually sits until they die. That's the honest truth. They hold that shit deep inside, and it never escapes. And that's a life filled with pain. Can you imagine that? Holding that inside of you for that long. In some ways, it might contribute to your own death. So, in the best way possible, you trying to shield yourself, protect yourself from not being harmed any longer, that is a coping mechanism that's not working. It obviously is not, because you're in a new relationship, and it's just not, you're not able to enjoy it. You're having issues. And in order to resolve these issues, you have to solve, the only solution is to remove that trauma, remove that bullet. And it's going to fucking hurt. I guarantee that. It's going to fucking hurt. You're going to have to re-experience the emotions of that trauma and experience it all over again, and let the process be completed. Experience that raw emotion again, and you're probably going to yell, you're probably going to scream, and you're probably going to cry. But it's going to be worth it. You have to put yourself in that situation again, internally, go through that all over again, and at the end of it, you're going to find yourself a little bit lighter. It may take one try, it may take 1,000, but you don't want to be going through that endless cycle, that bottomless pit, that rabbit hole of just pain, of not moving anywhere. So, some things you need to know before you start this is that you have to acknowledge you have trauma. You also have to acknowledge that it's not your fault. What happened at that relationship wasn't your fault. And it's not your new partner's fault either. And it's not society's fault. In reality, it's only one individual's fault. But you shouldn't be focusing on that individual. You should have cut that individual off from your life and moved on. And never, ever allow yourself to be, and never allow that person to come back into your life, because they've broken your boundaries, they've broken your trust. And that's it. That's the only thing that you should only take into consideration. You shouldn't blame anyone else except for that person. And it shouldn't even be a blame. Just cut off. You're out. You're done. And so, who do you have to blame? No one. No one. But I do have to tell you one thing. It's your responsibility to fix it. No one else is going to fix it for you. No one else can help you release this trauma. Nothing. Not money, not status, not men or women, no other form of pleasure. Not a friend, not family, not even a professional, a psychologist, or some idiot on the internet. They can try, but it won't help. It won't help unless you help yourself first. Only you can do it. Those are some of the things that you need to know before moving on to the next step on what to do. So once you've accepted those things, then we can move on. So you're probably asking yourself now, what is it that I can do? Well, I would ask you to explore the ideas and activities that will allow you to release this trauma, that will allow you to learn about yourself, do things that you've never and do things that you've never done. Those are usually pretty good ways of opening yourself up and exposing that trauma, letting it breathe, and finally allowing it to heal. Do things that make you uncomfortable. Though that shit will bring up the trauma again. That's a really good way. If you want to bring up that trauma so it can finally be done, be settled, do things that make you uncomfortable. Do things that scare you. If it's trusting someone again, then let that be. If it's confronting social anxiety, whether it be depression or anything, do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Just do it. Take action. You have to open yourself to the world and allow yourself to live. Pain is a part of life. Let it be a lesson and experience that helps you grow. Be proactive and take action. Get to know the things about yourself or feelings you have that are hiding deep within yourself. I think that's the most important thing about personal development, self-help, anything that involves improvement. You have to look within first. It always comes from within. And I think the last thing that I could tell you is you have to learn to love again and appreciate everything in your life without any form of judgment. You just have to take it for what it is, accept it, let it be, and there can't be any judgment, no opinions about it. Okay? The best way to do this, I think personally, is meditation. Meditation helps a lot on just being there in the present, being there with your trauma, and just figuring it out there. Because life is it's a beautiful thing and it's worth living. You shouldn't have to deal with that pain any longer. All the pain in the world, personally, I couldn't stop me from wanting to get one last breath of air, one last moment of life, one last experience, one last moment of presence. I think once you find the present moment, that energy, whatever mumbo jumbo, that moment of peace, calm, and relaxation, once you find it, that'll help immensely. And so it wouldn't stop me, and it shouldn't stop you either. So do the things that I told you. If you want to talk more, we could talk more. For everyone else, if you thought that was interesting, if you're personally dealing with any kind of traumatic experiences like that, I understand. Everyone can understand. Everyone can relate because they've all gone through something like this. Everyone goes through trauma. That is a fact. And so if you personally want to resolve any trauma and need guidance, need help, I've actually been learning personal development for 6 years, and I've been teaching it for about 1 year. And honestly, I could say that a lot of the people that I've helped have improved immensely. They say it's one of the best experiences they've ever had in their life. And if it only takes one free consultation call, that's what I offer. One free consultation call to, get started. If that's what it takes to change your life, to allow yourself to be happy, to remove that heavy bag of trauma, that bullet in your heart, then I would say that's a price worth taking. One free call. Okay? That's all it takes to have a lifestyle that you want. It's been good. Thank you, Jackie, for the question. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate when people contribute to this whole community that I'm trying to build here. This whole kind of lifestyle build of self improvement, personal development, and social skills. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Send me a message, send me a like, do whatever it takes to be proactive, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take action.